part of the IELTS examination, and that is the computer-based IELTS examination. So it's important to know that the computer-based IELTS examination is slightly different from the actual IELTS examination, which is the pen and paper based IELTS examination. So today we are going to talk about what this examination is all about. What are the things which are required in this examination for you to do well, and most importantly, what are the things that you need to approach differently for you to get a higher band score? So what are we waiting for? Let's move on and have a look at what we are going to do today. Before we move ahead, my referral code is BE Trainers, capital B, capital E, TRAINERS. If you register with this code, if you subscribe with this code on the Unacademy platform, you will be getting a 10% discount and access to some amazing educators from all over the country, and also live classes that you can attend, recorded classes that you can download and watch. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, go to the platform, register with this code. All right, now let's begin and have a look at what we are doing today. The first thing, what is the IELTS examination? The IELTS examination, or the International English Language Testing System, is the world's most popular English language proficiency test for study, work, and migration. Definitely for studies, you take the academic module, and for migration and work, you take the general training module. So these are the two essential examinations that you have to appear for in the IELTS examination, depending on your requirement. Now, let's get to know more about what this examination is all about. You can choose to take your IELTS test either on paper or on computer, depending on your convenience. There is no difference in the content, format, or level of difficulty between the two options. Remember, you'll have to carefully choose which module you wish to take, IELTS Academic or IELTS General Training, depending on the purpose of your taking the test. All right? So that is what the IELTS examination is all about. Firstly, the two types, academic and general training. Secondly, the two different ways in which you can appear for the examination, and that is the computer-based test and the pen and paper-based test. All right, these are the two ones. Before we begin before I tell you more about the computer delivered examination, it is very, very important to understand that this particular examination also follows the same exam pattern as the other pen and paper based examination. So what is that pattern? Let's get to know and let's get to see. Some of you may be here for the first time, getting to know about the IELTS examination. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So for you, it will be an important thing to know what the actual IELTS examination is all about. So before I go ahead with that, let me see if we've got few more students in our class today. Do we have anyone in the class right now? Okay. All right, let's begin. So to the two people who've just come to the class, I am going to share about the IELTS exam pattern. All right. So now let's move ahead and have a look. We always begin the IELTS examination with the listening exam, then the reading, then the writing. All three skills take place on the same day, and the speaking section happens a few days before the examination or few days after the examination. Even in the case of the IELTS speaking examination, for the computer delivered examination, it's going to be the same. this thing doesn't change. It's going to be face to face, and depending on when you're slotted, you will be asked to come and appear for the examination. Now, the biggest difference that we are going to discuss in regard to this examination is going to come soon, and that is the listening exam. So I repeat, all three exams together. So the total time taken to complete the test is within 3 hours 15 minutes. Now this is considering the fact that you take everything into consideration. You going there, you sitting for the examination, and the different transitions, and plus your prep time. So this can vary in the listening, reading and writing examination when it comes to the computer based one. But for others, for the actual pen and paper, this one could be even more than what the time has been allocated. Now, all the three skills are tested on the same day without any break. All right. Now, the computer delivered test. You can choose to take your IELTS test either on paper or computer, depending on your convenience, as we've mentioned it before. There's no difference in the content, format, or level of difficulty between the two options. But my question to each one of you who will be watching this video later is, how easy is it for you to type on the system? Do you find it easier than writing it on the pen and paper? If you do, the computer delivered test is definitely for you, because there are a few people, there are some individuals who find it very difficult to write on pen and paper, with pen and paper, because they've got used to typing so much on the system, on the computer. So if you are one of those type of people, this one is definitely for you. Now, let's understand how not only the content, even the TRF, the test report form, is different from the other one in terms of how fast you get this. The test report form, content, timing, and the structure of the test is the same whether you take the test on paper or on computer. And the speaking test is always face to face with a certified IELTS examiner. But here's the catch for all of you to see, that unlike the pen and paper based test, which takes 13 days to be, revealed to the students, the computer delivered test takes only 5 to 7 days. So that's a major difference. And that is something that you can think about when you are planning to appear for the examination. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. What hasn't changed? Like mentioned earlier, all aspects of the test or all aspects of the examination are identical to paper-based IELTS, including question types, content, and marking. So these things haven't changed at all. Now, how is it different, the time allocated? This is something that you really need to be aware of. In the computer delivered listening test, the timings are slightly different from the paper based test. This is because the paper based test requires users to transfer answers to an answer sheet. This step becomes redundant when answering directly on a computer. So you need to understand that unlike the pen and paper based test where you get 10 minutes to transfer, here it's like 2 minutes to check your answers. Now, the thing to remember out here is, are you going to get any kind of rough sheet? Are you going to get any kind of extra paper? That is something that you will be able to find out only if you contact a local administrator, local examination center. Now, the one skill which is completely different from all the other skills in terms of the computer-based test is the listening test, because there is no transferring at all in the listening examination. So you need to be acutely aware of that. You also need to understand that in order to answer these carefully, you will need, some kind of comfort level with the system. If you are someone who's absolutely comfortable with the laptop, with the computer, you should be in a good place. But if you are someone who finds it difficult to use the system, the computer, who gets usually affected and conscious while typing, then it's time to rethink your options and then opt for the pen and paper based test. Now, where in India is it available? A very, very important question. It is available in a lot of places in the northern part of the country and also in some parts of the southern India. Let's find out where it is available. You can see it's available in Ahmedabad, Amritsar, Bhatinda, Bangalore, Bengaluru, or we could call it that. Chandigarh, Chennai, Bangalore, and Bengaluru are the same. So, Chandigarh, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Mumbai, Noida, and Pune. Now, the thing to remember is it's definitely not available in the eastern part of the country, but hugely available in the northern and in some places of the southern portion. So if you are planning to give the examination and you're not from you know you're not from these places, then you will have to travel to these places to give your exam, so be aware of that. All right. Now, let's have a look at what are the pros of the computer-based test. Now, there are lots of pros of the computer-based test because the naysayers would say that the CBT test is actually, more time. It is not that time consuming, but it requires more accuracy. Let me break the myth for you. It isn't that difficult. Firstly, it is so easy to edit when it comes to the computer-based test. I'll tell you how. When it comes to the computer-based test, it is easy to edit because you can erase, you can quickly write and structure and organize your essay because you can see how it looks. Another thing is erasing. It doesn't mean that you'll have to take an eraser and erase it off the sheet. Neither is there any fear of tearing the sheet, nor is there any fear of the pencil being very, black, or let's say gray, being very gray and it being visible even after erasing. Out here, the easiest thing is you just go swipe, swipe, swipe at the backspace, and then it's gone. So that's something that you can, really enjoy if you are someone who loves typing on the computer. Now, another one. The word count is a huge problem in the pen and paper based test because you are acutely aware that you shouldn't be writing less than 150 words. Now, the problem here is if you are going to write less than 150 words, you're going to be penalized. But in the case of the computer based test, less than 150 words wouldn't be a case at all for writing task 1, and less than 250 words wouldn't be a case at all for writing task 2. Tell me why? Because the word count is going to be displayed right below the screen. So if it's going to be such a thing, why would you even have a problem? The words are going to reflect, you're going to get to see how many words you've written while you're writing. Okay? Next one, less crowded test centers. Because since computer-based IELTS test is something which is new and it's an upcoming, concept, because of that, a lot of people prefer to give pen and paper-based test. And that's the reason why computer-delivered tests are fairly, less crowded. Again, handwriting isn't a factor. So we've seen what are the pros. Let's do a quick review. Easier to edit, word count, less crowded centers, handwriting isn't a factor. So no messy handwriting problems at all. You can just type and be assured that the examiner is not going to mark you less because she hasn't understood what you've written. The last one is no page flipping because the screen will be divided into two parts, the text and the questions. This means that you don't have to keep flipping pages like we do in the actual pen and paper based test. We look at the section, the comprehension, and then mark our answers. This is not going to happen there. This means that you'll get everything on the same screen and you'll be able to correlate. Now, I hope everyone has got convinced with the pros. Now let's have a look at the cons. Now, do we have anyone in the class right now? I can see the three of you are watching, but I cannot see your comments. So if you're making any, if you have written any comments, I will respond to the answers after the class gets over, because I do not see it reflecting right now. All right. So please wait for it once the class gets over. All right, let's move to the cons. Now, drawing, highlighting, or making notes on the screen isn't as easy. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very, very important that you make arrangements. You get to, practice this properly. The process of using the computer, the laptop comfortably, in a sense, in regard to your speed, in regard to your comfort level. Remember, it's 3 hours of continuous non-stop sitting before the system. Another thing is, drawing, highlighting, or making notes on the screen isn't as easy. Though you can right click to highlight the text or make notes on the screen, however, many students prefer to use a pen and paper. So you're not always given a pen and paper in a computer-based test. If this is a concern for you, you should check with your local test center to see whether you can get them on the day of your test. Another thing is screen fatigue. A lot of people who do these exams experience dry eyes, continuously itchy eyes, and they also feel very tired. They feel that it is very, very taxing on their head, their eyes, and that is a concern for them. So, if you are one of those people who suffer tired eyes or a sore head, you need to take the pen and paper based test. Again, the sound of typing can be very, very distracting. Let me tell all of you that. And again, not everyone is comfortable typing or using computers. The IELTS exam is stressful enough. If the idea of using a computer makes you nervous, the computer based test could make you even more stressful, because you would feel uncomfortable. So it's important that you think about all these things, because there aren't that many CBT practice activities online too. So since it's an upcoming idea, it's an upcoming trend of giving the CBT examination, the material, the amount of material, the quantity of material that is available for the pen and paper based test is not the same as what is available for the computer based test. So we've covered all these areas, everyone, and I would say, for me, the top concern is this one, because reading requires a lot of highlighting and a lot of identifying synonyms. That is something which is not going to be easy. And the other one is this one. So these are my top two concerns when it comes for my students. For the others, you could try it out, practice and see it for yourself, and then make a choice. Remember, if you've taken the IELTS exam multiple times and you've kept failing to get the score you wanted, it's very likely that there are serious problems with your reading, listening, writing, speaking, or exam skills. In the sense, even when you appear for the examination, the idea of nervousness, the feeling of, you haven't practiced well. So, all these combine together to make an examination ineffective. So, if you want to focus and work on yourself and think that, okay, I would like to give computer based test, and that is the reason why I would choose something like CBT to get a higher score, that wouldn't make much difference. So focus on each skills practicing, and then improve yourself, and then make a choice whether to go for a CBT test or whether to go for a pen and paper based test. All right. Now these are the things which are different and are the pros and cons of the computer based test. The rest of the examination paper is exactly the same. And that is the reason why we will take you through a quick exam overview because some of you may be coming to this platform for the first time. Some of you may be getting to know about the IELTS exam for the first time. And this shouldn't be a concern for you that, okay, you know what CBT test is, but your basic idea about listening, reading, writing skills is not clear enough. So let's get to know about that too. The difference between the academic and the general training is the IELTS academic test is for people who want to go for education, for studying abroad, and the IELTS general training is for people who are going for work experience, training programs, or immigration. That's the major difference. The other difference is IELTS academic could also be for people pursuing post-secondary degrees, while the general training students may be appearing for it for, like I said, work and immigration. All right. Listening is, like I said, 30 minutes plus 2 minutes transfer time, 40 questions and 4 sections. Section 1 is dialogue. Section 2 is a talk or a speech. The dialogue could be social or transactional. The talk or speech is normally a topic of general interest, monologues. Section 3, conversation with up to 4 people, could be about education, training, context. Section 4, talk, lecture in regard to an academic subject. Listening sub-skills, identify for detail. That means you have to look at the finer, minute details when it comes to listening and answering your questions. Prediction of the content, which is very, very important. In IELTS listening examination, there are quite a few answers which you could easily predict. So, excuse me. So, how would you be aware of something like this? By practicing many times. Listening for gist. What is gist? A gist is listening for an overall idea or only a, like, let's say, not something completely in detail, just like how you would form an overall idea about something, but you wouldn't be knowing each and everything in detail. So that is listening for gist. Listening for detail or listening for specific information. Following signposting words. Now, this is my favorite. I have done a class on the signposting language. You cannot imagine how important it is for IELTS students to be aware of what signposting language is all about. So, signposting language is important for listening, writing, and speaking very clearly, very visibly, and in case of reading, to help you guide through paragraphs. And listening for stress and intonation. Especially in section 3 and 4, this is a major skill that you need, and do not undermine it. Infer the underlying meaning. That means understand what else the speaker, is trying to tell you through the different tones that they use while they are speaking. Now, this is the listening marks converter for all of you. You can see the number of correct answers that you get. That's how it translates into your band score. So I'll give you a very random one. 26 to 29 would be 6.5. Task types: short answer questions, forms, notes, table, flowchart, summary completion, multiple choice, sentence completion, labeling a diagram, plan, map, classification, matching. Now, these are quite similar to, some of them are very similar to reading question types too. Now, reading academic, 60 minutes inclusive of transfer time, 40 questions. Now, in this case, inclusive of transfer time doesn't work seriously because in listening also you do not need to transfer your time in CBT test. Both for listening and reading, it's exactly the same. You'll have to write while you are listening. 40 questions, 3 passages, totaling 2000 to 750 words. Academic tests taken from journals, newspapers, magazines, and books. It's very important to understand out here that these academic texts taken from journals, newspapers, magazines, and books could be very, very boring also. So, if it is boring, then it is very important for you to understand that you'll have to get used to reading boring texts. And how can you do a better job of reading them faster? By reading at home, practicing, going through newspapers, going through magazines. All right, these are the different task types. Like I told you, some of them are exactly similar to the listening task type. So you've got multiple choice questions, you've got short answer questions, you've got sentence completion, you've got identifying of writers' views and claims, classification, matching, and others. I am doing a course which is going to start from the 19th of December. In this course, I am going to share with you all the reading tips and strategies in regard to the IELTS examination. We will be practicing uh, the different skills, the different types of activities, and we'll also discuss what are the quickest strategies that we can use to help achieve higher scores. Reading general training is exactly the same as reading reading academic. The only difference being out here is that the reading academic module has 3 paragraphs. The general training module ranges from 4 to 5 comprehensions. Sorry, the earlier one was 3 comprehensions, and this one 4 to 5 comprehensions. Okay, now section 1 talks about social survival, section 2 work related, and section 3 is general reading. For both academic and general training module, section 3 is almost the same because uh, it is content heavy completely for even GT students. Now, the task types are exactly the same as the academic students. Reading skills required, prediction, skimming, scanning, and inferring. All these will be discussed in detail in the course that I am starting from the 19th of December. Please do not forget to come to my platform, come and follow me on the Unacademy platform and attend my classes from the 19th of December at 8 p.m. Reading subskills, prediction, skimming for general meaning, scanning for specific information, intensive reading, inferring meaning, deducing meaning from lexis, and these are major subskills. They look easy on the screen right now, but when you eventually have to do, you need a lot of practice. Don't worry. Come to me at 8 p.m. on the Unacademy platform and I will make reading absolutely easy for you. Reading skills tips. Use headings, use paragraphs, that is topic sentences. Focus on paragraph type, dealing with unfamiliar vocabulary. Now, this is the reading marks converter for academic students, and this one is for general training students. All right, you can see when it comes to the Bansko converter, general training marking is more difficult than the academic marking. In the case of the question paper, academic is more difficult than general training. Writing 60 minutes, 2 tasks. Writing task 1, report based on graphic and pictorial, minimum 150 words. Writing task 2, essay in response to a given opinion or a problem, minimum 250 words. Now, general training, same thing, 60 minutes, 2 tasks. Task 1, letter, asking for information, explaining a situation, complaining, different categories right there. Task 2, essay in response to given point of view, minimum 250 words. Now, task 1, academic module, consists of data, information, factual information, right? The assessment criteria, task achievement, task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. Now, it's very important to understand out here what do we understand by coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion means signposting language, which is linkers. It also means writing everything in order, in a very harmonious manner. Each and every stage needs to be correlated to the next stage, and this also includes having good grammatical range and accuracy. So you can see, and what does task achievement, task response mean? Writing everything as per the requirement of the question. And lexical resource is vocabulary. Now, it's very important to understand out here. When we are talking about these things, when we are trying to clarify about these things, we are talking about the vocabulary, we are talking about the task achievement, task response, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy. You need to understand that these are the things that if you concentrate on properly is going to help you achieve a higher band score in IELTS. Another thing to remember, this is exactly the same for both the computer based test and for the pen and paper based test. So do not think that the CBT is different. If writing is difficult for you when you give the pen and paper based test, it is going to be difficult for you when you give the computer delivered test. Now, speaking is 11 to 14 minutes, and again, it's divided into three parts. So, three parts would be speaking 1, speaking 2, and speaking 3. Part 1 is introduction and interview, very, very casual. The environment is going to be, the examiner is not going to make it very uncomfortable for you. You are going to enjoy talking to the examiner. It's a part of her job. It's a part of her job, her role as an examiner, to make you feel comfortable. So don't worry about this at all. She will be asking you 5 to 6 questions, general questions about your life, about your family, about what you like in life. Just answer them casually. Just remember one thing, never answer in monosyllables. Give at least 1 to 2 sentences. Individual long term, 3 to 4 minutes, considering the fact that the process. 1 minute prep time. Where is our pen? Just a second. So there it goes. So this would be 1 minute prep time and 2 minutes talk time. All right. And discussion is 4 to 5 minutes. Now, what is the discussion type question? It's nothing but the examiner, having the need to know your perspective on the different question types. These answers have to be answered in length, a little bit at least. Otherwise, the lesser you answer, the more wise the examiner is going to use to expand your answer. So she'll keep asking you, or he'll keep asking you, why this, why that, why this. You don't want that. So answer the questions in detail. And also remember, in the last part of the IELTS speaking test, there will be 7 to 8 questions. So it's important that you're careful about it, and you are prepared to answer many number of questions. All right. Like I said, this is the test format for the IELTS speaking test. Both general training and academic students have to give the same examination for speaking. For both IELTS listening and speaking, the question paper is exactly the same. It's only for reading and writing that the question is different for the academic students and the general training students. All right. Speaking assessment criteria, fluency and coherence. Again, whatever you're saying should make logic and should have a flow. Lexical resource, vocabulary, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. All right. Use linkers to expand your answer. Who, where, what, why. To begin with, also firstly, secondly, in addition to. For signposting, refer to my classes. For signposting, I have a video on the Unacademy platform. You can definitely refer to that there. Okay. Tips: you need to do time management with each section so that you do not leave anything unanswered in the paper. Most importantly, take your IELTS test when you're ready for the test. There's no need to follow any particular accent. It is an international English language test. All right. Some of the questions that people have a problem with, and these questions have all been answered today. And what can I take into the examination room? I would suggest just yourself and your passport when it comes to the computer-based test. Now, Before I end, let me tell you about the capsule course that I am coming up with from the 19th of December. This is a complete practice course on the IELTS reading examination. I am going to cover a huge number of activities in this. We are going to look at reading format overview, do activities, understand what skimming and scanning is, do activities in relation to that, look at matching the headings, look at matching the paragraph, understand what's the difference, what's the strategy, and do our activities, do our questions together. You and me together, we are going to answer these questions so that you are able to excel in doing this. And what are we going to practice about? Yes, no, not given, true, false, not given, multiple choice questions, summary completion, table completion, sentence completion, classification, flow charts, short answer questions. So all of these are going to be practiced with questions. Don't forget to come to my class from the 19th of December on the Unacademy platform at 8 p.m. To subscribe to the channel, use my code BE Trainers. I repeat, and where is our pen? Yeah, use my code BE Trainers. If you register, if you subscribe with this code, you will get a 10% off on the Unacademy channel, on the Unacademy website, and you will not only have access to me, but also the expert educators of the country on both IELTS and English, and the other options if you are interested in them. So please come from the 19th of December at 8 p.m. If you want to get a band score which is higher than 7, don't hesitate and come to the class. All right. Steps 2 8 before we close: time management, practicing different types of questions, vocabulary analysis, especially keywords, and discussion on frequently repeated IELTS reading question types. Clear? Thank you very much and good night to all of you. And I hope you'll come to my class again. Bye.